Hello and welcome, hardworking aspirants. So today's topic is Sakas and Parthians invasion in India. And in previous classes, we have already seen right away from the Persian or the Achaemenid Empire's invasion to Alexander the Great, and after that we saw the Seleucid Empire, and after that we saw the Greco-Bactrians. In our last class, if you remember, we discussed about this Bactrian kingdom, also the very famous Menander one or the Milind, who is mentioned in the book Milind Panha. So the Sakas were originally known as the Scythians, and why these Scythians will come to be known as Sakas, that's what we will answer. And we will also see that these Sakas were the longest ruling foreign invaders in India. Yes, they ruled for almost around 500 to 600 years, so that is something which we have to keep in our minds. And they were at one point of time only accumulated around this western part of India, also known as the western satraps of the Sakas. So we'll see all these and we'll also check Parthians. Okay, so before we begin, guys, quick info: if you're preparing for TSPSC Group 1 or Group 2 or even for UPSC CSE 2026 or 27, this is the opportunity for you. Right now we are having 50% discount. You're going to get everything from live plus recorded classes, 100% GS syllabus coverage and the other things. You can call on the numbers given below to inquire for more, and let's get started with Saka. So as we have discussed in the last class, so these Bactrians, somewhere around in today's Afghanistan and Uzbekistan, they lived, and they were forced by Parthians and Sakas and the UG tribe to come towards northwestern part of India. In northwestern part of India, they will have their capital set at Tachsila, and they will also move in two different directions, one towards the Patliputra from Mathura side, and secondly towards the Ujjain. Okay, and this will be done by Demetrius, and along with Demetrius it will be the Menander and Apollodotus too. Okay, so but today we are going to discuss about the Scythians. Why these Scythians are known as Sakas? They are known as Sakas because in Patanjali's Mahabhasya, he has mentioned the Scythians as Sakas. So because of that, guys, we mention them as Sakas. So Sakas, somewhere around from the 1st century before Common Era to the 4th century Common Era, we will see them slowly and gradually their empire will decline. They will not have the rule all over India, rather two different regions. Okay, and we will also see about the satraps or the satrapy system, which is even today being followed. So we'll see that. But why did they have to come towards India? As I've already said you that there were few tribes known as the UG tribe, then the sorry, Scythians tribes, Parthians tribes and the Bactrian tribes. So these UG tribes were being pushed by other tribes, so they pushed the Parthians. Okay, and the Parthians will push the Sakas, and because of that Sakas will have to come towards the northern western part of India, and while coming here they will be destroying the Greco-Bactrians. Okay, after destroying Greco-Bactrians they will be coming here. So let's see the causes of Saka migration in detail. So if you see, the primary driver of Saka migration was the domino effect of Central Asian nomadic movement. Why domino effect? Because one tribe is pushing the other is pushing the third one, and so on and so forth. We saw the Jiangnu Confederation under the leader Modu Chamyu had expanded their territory, and they defeated the UG tribe. Now, what is related with the UG tribe? Because this Jiangnu will pressure the UGs will displace the Sakas from there. And now because both of them are doing so, the Sakas have to move southward, and their southward will be towards India. So that is something which you should keep in mind. Okay, and in India also, which of the parts that you can see very nicely, the parts along with this Mathura and Patliputra, then we also have the parts along with this Ujjain and Barigaja, and then above the northwestern part of India you can see right away from Afghanistan till the Punjab and the Sindh and all the other parts are there. So what were the routes of entry and expansion? If we see that there were basically three. Number one will be the Bolan Pass route, that is the main group of Sakas enter through the Bolan Pass from eastern Iran. Please remember that Iran was also known as the Seistan. This is here the Bolan Pass that you can see. Then second was the Khyber Pass route. Additional Saka tribes entered through the Khyber Pass into the northwestern India. This here you can see. Along with the Hindu Kush mountains is this Khyber Pass, and before this all the invaders that have entered India, whether it was Alexander the Great or the Achaemenids, all have entered through this Hindu Kush mountain. And there was a third route also, that was the Kashmir route. Some Saka groups known as Saka Murandas entered through Kashmir also. What were the branches and territories? So basically these Sakas will divide themselves into 5 major branches in India. One in Afghanistan, second in Punjab, third will be the Mathura, which will be ruled for about 2 centuries. This will be the second last when you talk about the rulings, and the fourth will be Western India. This will be ruled for around 400 years or 4 centuries, and the Upper Deccan region. Okay, so these were the 5 major branches in India of Sakas, and the Sakas dynasties and rulers if you see. So the in the Gandhara Satrapa, if you see, you will have Moez or Moga, the first Saka king in India who established Saka power in Gandhara. He is very important, whom you should know about. And then Aegis I is also famous. He descended from the Moez, significant ruler who expanded Saka territories. And in the northern Satrapas, when you see, then you will see that you have Hagamasa and Hagana, Ali satraps who established Saka rule in Mathura, and then he was followed by Rajuvula and then Sodasa. Then western satraps, if you are going to see, you have the different satraps here. Nahapana here is someone who is very famous, one of the most powerful early western satraps. And this Chastana, founder of the main western satrap dynasty, is also famous here. Rudradaman I is the most famous, so you should know about the Rudradaman I also. So these were the few of the Saka dynasties and the rulers, and as I have already said you that this western satraps will be the longest surviving satrap. We are saying most of the time this satrap. Please let me explain you what is this satrap and what was this satrapy system. Okay, so satraps basically means governor. We need not to go into the nitty-gritties which are not of that important. And satrapy basically means the provinces. Like today, if you have the states, okay, there are different states like Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, the states like Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh. So like that only these provinces were there. And the king used to appoint satraps. Okay, king used to appoint satraps or the governors there. And what the king was known as? The king was known as the Mahasatrap. Okay, he was known as the greater satrap or the Mahasatrap. Okay. Now, Rudradaman I, as he was one of the most important, reigned somewhere around 130 to 150 Common Era, was the most celebrated king of the Western Satrapa. His capital was at Ujjain. His empire, when you talk about, it was in Maharashtra, Malwa, Saurashtra, and extended influence across Western and Central India. One of the basic features when we have talked about the Indo-Greeks and the difference between the coinage system of the Indo-Greeks and the coinage system of the Mahajanpadas was, while Mahajanpadas period we had punch marked coins, okay, but these punch marked coins did not give us any detail of which ruler tried to have that coin, or what was the era, what was the time. Nothing was known there. But thanks to these Indo-Greek rulers, because of their coinage system where they have put their own idol, their own image, they have put the images of the Hindu gods or the Greek gods or even the Buddhist and the Jain gods, and they have also given the proper description of which king has issued at what time. So this is an important feature, and because of these coins only we have come to know about all these Indo-Greek rulers. So that is of some importance, please remember that. Now Rudradaman I is renowned for decisive victories over the Satavahanas, especially he defeated Satakarni II, not the Satakarni I, rather Satakarni II, and he will also regain the territories which were previously lost to Gautami Putra Satakarni. And there is one major initiation that he did for the infrastructure. He notably restored the Sudarshana Lake. Sudarshana Lake is having a good history, where it was the Pushyagupta at the time of Chandragupta Maurya. That was the first time when the Sudarshana Lake was built. Then at the time of Asoka, again it will be expanded and restored, and then the third time it is of Rudradaman I that it is being restored again. So please remember that. And the another thing which you should know about Rudradaman was Rudradaman, or the Sakas, were the first who made Sanskrit as their court language. For the very first time, Sanskrit was made the court language while Rudradaman I, or the Sakas that you can say. And this commissioning of the famous Junagadh rock inscription, where we find the earliest significant Sanskrit inscription, rather the first long Sanskrit inscription if you are getting anywhere, it is the Junagadh rock inscription, and it was by Rudradaman I. There is something more, which is we see that they are patronizing Sanskrit, and it is evident by Junagadh rock inscription as well as by them making Sanskrit as their court language. When we talk about the Saka administration and culture, the Sakas adopted the Persian administrative system of the satrapies, provincial governorship, that we have already discussed. They use the title Chhatrapas, or the Satrap, and the Mahasatrap, that is the great satrap, derived from the Achaemenid Persian system. The ruling satraps held the title of Mahachatrap, while the heir apparent was given the title of Chhatrap. So ruling means the king or the ruler were known as the Mahachatrapa. Now, Saka administration and culture, if we talk about it, Saka gradually assimilated into Indian culture while maintaining their distinct identity too. They patronized both Hinduism and Buddhism, and their coins featured a blend of Greek, Iranian and Indian motifs. The western satraps were particularly noted for their construction of Buddhist caves in Maharashtra and Gujarat. This is something that you should remember. And we also see the silver coin that was issued by Rudradaman I is also shown here. You can zoom it and see. Let's see about the Saka Samvat, and there is some confusion also. The Saka era, also known as the Saka Samvat, is a historical calendar system that began in 78 Common Era and is still significant in India today. But we are not very sure that it was because of the Sakas that it was told to be Saka era. Some people say that it was Kanishka and his reign after at his time when this Saka era started, and there are other who are giving different theories, but nonetheless this Saka Samvat or Saka calendar is accepted as the Indian calendar or the Indian national calendar. Saka era marks the rise of Saka dynasty. The epoch of the Saka era starts at 78 Common Era. This is the important point which you should remember. The Saka era is a key chronological reference in Indian history, where it is used in the inscription literature and for determining festival dates, and it also reflects the historical importance of the Sakas or the Indo-Parthians. Now there is one more point which you should remember: the decline. Why will any power will decline? Very simple. Common sense thing is that successor rulers will be weak. Okay, that will be one common point always. So what were the points here? Kushana's conquest will be there. As we have seen that first the Greco-Bactrians have come because of these Parthian Sakas and because of the UG tribe. Secondly, the Sakas have come. Thirdly, we will see the Parthians will come, and then fourthly we will see the UG tribe. The part of the UG tribe, Kushanas, they will have the conquest, and because of them the Sakas will decline. Satvahana defeats them, that will also be a reason, and the Gupta conquest where Chandragupta II will finally defeat the last Western Satrapa Rudra Simha III in 395 Common Era. So this is of importance. And the Parthians, let's now talk about the Parthians. The Sakas have declined. The Parthians, also called the Pahlavas, were an Indo-Iranian people who established the Parthian or the Aracid Empire, which spanned from 247 before Common Era to 224 Common Era. The Indo-Parthian kingdom was founded by Gondophares I and 19 Common Era, breaking away from the main Parthian Empire. Okay, and you see, it is only limited to the part of the northwestern India. It has not come towards the central or the western India. So this Indo-Parthian kingdom was very visible there. So there is not very much information about these Parthians, but whatever the few are there, let's discuss. The Gondophares I was the founder and the most prominent ruler of the Indo-Parthian kingdom. His name derived from the old Iranian meaning may he find glory, was not a personal name but it was an epithet. So Gondophares actually meant what? May he find glory. His capital was the ancient city of Tachsila. You will see most of the Indo-Greek empires who will have invaded India, they will have their capital at Tachsila because that is the border province that you can say. He established an Indian independent kingdom covering the Seistan, that is the part of Iran, then Arakosia, that is the southern Afghanistan, Gandhara, that is the northwest of Pakistan, and the parts of Punjab and Sindh will be occupied by this Gondophares or the Parthians. And you can see here the Indo-Parthian kingdom is seen in the part of this. At that time, if you see, the Sakas are also ruling at the central India, and at the bottom if you see Satavahana Empire is also there. Amravati art and culture is very famous. We have discussed that in our art and culture classes as well as in very detail, so that's very important. You should go and watch that in the playlist of art and culture. And this all we have already discussed before also, so you can, if you have not watched the playlist of ancient Indian history, you can watch the playlist of that too. So you can see the UG kingdom at the top, and this UG kingdom, one of its part will be the Kushanas. They will come in the next class. We are going to discuss about them. So this was about the Indo-Parthians. If you see, there is not much information that we have, but Gondophares adopted the title of King of Kings, that we know about him, and then there were some few other things also related to them. When we talk about the cultural and the religious impact, so we can say they are mentioned in the Christian tradition through the act of Thomas Wood, which describes Saint Thomas the Apostle visiting the court of Gudnafar or the Gondophares. And it is also said that Saint Thomas, after he visited this Parthians, then he goes towards Chennai, Madras, and there he is assassinated. So this is also an important info that you should know. It might be asked. The Indo-Parthians also constructed the famous Takhti Bahi Buddhist monastery, now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And here if you see the Gondophares coins, where the Parthian Eastern Iran king 20 to 10 before Common Era can be seen. You can see in the coin king on horseback right, and reverse side you can see Lord Shiva facing, holding the trident or the Trishul in his hand. Okay. Now Takhti Bahi, this is the famous UNESCO World Heritage Site that we have already seen. It was built by the Parthians. And the decline of Indo-Parthian power, again the reason will be the succession crisis, the kingdom divided among various claimants including Gondophares, and then there will be Abdagases and the Othanes. Okay. Kushan conquest by the mid 1st century Common Era, the Kushan Empire under Kujula Cadphises absorbed most of Indo-Parthian territories that we have already said. It will not only destroy, Kushans will not only destroy the Parthians but as well as the Scythians or the Sakas. Sasanian conquest the remaining Indo-Parthian territories in Seistan, that is modern day Iran, were conquered by the Sasanian Empire around 224 to 225 Common Era. And then we will also see these Parthians were also known as Pahlavas. Okay, they were also known as the Pahlavas. Why they were known as the Pahlavas? or what is their relation with the Pallava dynasty that was in India. There are theories which talk about that this Parthians or the Pallavas and the Pallava dynasty of South India were having few connections. And why we are talking about this? Because several historians including Vincent Smith and Raj Bahadur Venkaiah initially proposed that the Pallavas were descendant of the Pahlavas. Pahlavas means the Parthians. This theory is supported by the linguistic similarity. The name Pallava is suggested to be a corruption of Pahlava, and the archaeological evidences a crown resembling that of the Indo-Greek king Demetrius was found on Pallava sculptures, and also the historical records, the reference to the Pallavas in contemporary inscription like the Nasik cave inscription talks about this. So we can say that there was some sort of relationship between the Pallavas and the Pallavas. We will discuss about it in a quite comprehensive way when we will discuss this Pallava Empire. It is not the part of today's class, so we are not going to see that. In the next class we will be discussing the Kushanas, okay, and in Kushanas also very famous Kanishka. But before we go, there are a few questions which we'll just see. Which of the following is the correct chronological order of foreign invasions in ancient India? What is the correct chronological order? So if you see, the first who were to come, the Greeks, then came the Sakas, and then will come the Kushanas. So what will be the right answer? B will be the right answer. Next question, the Saka era, which is used as the official civil calendar of India, began in which year? I said you keep noted 78 common era is the correct answer here. Which Saka ruler is known for issuing the famous Junagadh inscription, and what is its significance? Rudra Daman I for water management and use of Sanskrit. That is the correct answer. Next question, what was a major cultural innovation introduced by the Sakas that had a lasting impact on Indian polity? Use of Sanskrit for political and administrative purposes is something that was important here. So with that we have come to the last part, and the last part here is the mentorship program. So guys, if you are preparing for the UPSC, TSPSC or APPSC, here is an opportunity for you to get one-on-one live mentorship by Deepika ma'am. Deepika ma'am is having 20 plus years of experience, already has trained more than 1,000 of students, hundreds of them are in services today. So you can trust her with that record, and you can call on the numbers given below if you are really serious for your this journey from an aspirant to the administrative officer. Well, keep working hard, and I hope that you'll be successful, but you need to subscribe if you want that we meet again. Thank you.